Hey everybody, this is Lee back with you, and I'm here with Corey and Ira. And what we're going to talk about now is once you've gotten your groups together and once you've picked them out, um, the next step is to reach out to people and get them into your pipeline. So Corey, what's the best way to do that?
Okay, so now that you've learned the secret sauce about actually getting in front of your perfect prospect, right? You've found them in groups, you've identified who your target market is, and you've now gone in there, you've found them, you've even maybe kind of niched it out to the keywords that you're looking for, CEO, owners, all of that stuff. What's in their title, and so now you're ready to send a message to them. Okay. And this is really critical stuff because if you do this correctly, I mean, you could really later today and sometimes some of our clients, they've actually gotten responses within 15 minutes from this kind of stuff, right? Which is really amazing. I mean, that's like as direct response as it gets. Now, one of the key things to keep in mind, guys, this is all test and measure, right? We've done a lot of testing and measuring when it comes to this. Right, and there's a couple of different variables that kind of affect your results when it comes to this. One of them being your profile, which we're going to get into in this course. We're going to talk about that because that actually makes a difference on the response levels that you will have. Right, but the biggest thing is what kind of copy are you going to have? Now, there's let me give you the best practices for messaging, right? And keep in mind, the biggest thing that you want to do is fill your calendar, because when you can fill your calendar and lock up an appointment, then you're really going to do incredibly well. If you're focused on just, I don't know, driving traffic to your website, that can also work, but keep in mind, unless you're really a seasoned internet marketer, it's going to take you a lot more to realize, you have to figure out the metrics, like how many clicks and what's the stick rate on your website, right? How many opt-ins are you getting? So unless you're a really amazing internet marketer, then it's really going to take you more time to do that. So we always recommend that you focus on the appointment, okay? Lock it up and get face-to-face with them. Not face-to-face, but over the phone, right? LinkedIn is a global platform. You can get in front of people all over the world, all over the country, and even in your local area. And, get them on a phone call, because that's the biggest way you're going to monetize this and close deals, right? So if you can talk to them, if you close a deal that's maybe $500 a month or $1,000 a month, some of you guys $2,000 to $5,000 a month, depending on the level of your services, then that's all, you really don't need a lot, right? You just need a way to steadily get in front of the right kind of people. So with this method, if you're getting a couple appointments a day, then let's say you're getting 10 appointments every single week. How many of those can you close, right? If you've got a 25% closing ratio, then you're bringing on a couple clients a week. And at the amounts that you're charging, right, it might only take you, I don't know, maybe 60 days, maybe 90 days, maybe a little bit more to get to the point where you've got an income of $5,000 to $10,000 a month, right? And just imagine what kind of freedom you could have with that. I mean, you could definitely quit the job that you're still kind of, you're working at, trying to work your way out of. You can, finally have the income where you can really, free up some, get some more breathing room, right? Where you're not just kind of paycheck to paycheck, right? You can have the income you've been wanting to kind of upgrade your house or upgrade your car, or go on that family vacation you've always wanted to have your wife stop working, right? Or your husband or your significant other, right? To pay for that college tuition, right? These are the things that can be accomplished if you do this method correctly. So let's kind of dive into it, right? And let me share with you the best practices for messaging. Now, the first thing that you absolutely need to know, it's just like anything doing email marketing, right? If you're listening to this course, maybe you studied some email marketing before, right? What we're doing here is sending messages through LinkedIn. So it's not direct email. It's actually from LinkedIn profile to LinkedIn profile. So it's going to end up in their LinkedIn inbox, okay? And once it's in their LinkedIn inbox, it's they're going to be able to see it in their inbox. But also, a lot of times, LinkedIn will actually notify somebody, right, through email. So they'll get that email from LinkedIn, and they'll see their message within their email inbox. Now, the other great thing about LinkedIn and the messaging, right, not only does it go to email, but, I mean, honestly, people can just respond right back from their email and respond to your message from their email inbox, and it goes through the LinkedIn platform and arrives at your inbox, right? So that it's very quick. And one thing that you'll notice about LinkedIn and just the messaging in general and just email in general is that, most people tend to have their email on their cell phone, right? The majority of business owners, right, have smartphones and have their email loaded onto those smartphones. So people, the amazing thing about new technology and the new age that we live in is that people always have that. Even on the weekends, people are checking their business email and just kind of going through that. And if they see something that's interesting or intriguing, such as your message, then they're going to respond back right away. So that's the really great thing about LinkedIn is not only is it communicating with their LinkedIn profile, going to their LinkedIn inbox, it's going to their email. About 47% of all traffic that comes from LinkedIn is actually through cellular phones, through mobile. So what this means is that those decision makers that are looking at your messages, they're actually looking at it right there on their cell phone, which is really, really, really incredible. And this means that you're getting in front of those people, those high-end, those high-level professionals and decision makers, right? It's not like that person has their gatekeeper keep their profile on their cell phones, right? Nobody does that, right? So just know that when you're messaging people through LinkedIn, it's getting into their LinkedIn profile, right? It's also going to their email inbox, and it's also, you're going to find it on their cell phone as well, and they're going to be responding back, and it's going to be that decision maker. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about it. The same things for email marketing still apply here, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a couple of things that are going to determine whether that person is actually going to respond back to you. Number one is subject line. Okay, subject line is very critical. If you want to have that person opening up that message, you really have to make the subject line something that's going to be intriguing, that's going to get them to open that, right? Because they're going to base their, whether they're going to open that message up on that alone, right? Then it comes down to how well is your letter converting? Is the copy that's in there enticing to them? Does it speak to them? Is it conversational with them? Does it want them to? Does it really move them to reply and respond and book an appointment with you, right? But you'll never get that far unless you have a really great subject line. So, we'll talk about that a little bit more in that in just a second. One of the big things that's really important for getting really great response is personalization. Okay, when you're sending messages to folks, you want to personalize the message, and this can be very simple. It's just down to saying hi Jim or hi Sue or hi Bill, right? And just making sure you have that in there because it really makes them feel like you're listening, right? If you're just copying and pasting letters, right, and you're not really personalizing it, well, guess what? Your response rate is going to go down significantly. So if you want to get the highest amount of response, always personalize that message, because that's really going to get their attention. Even down to this, one of the easiest subject lines that actually produces really amazing results is just hi, and then put their name there. Hi Jim, hi Sue, hi Bill, whoever it is. And if you do that, that's actually as basic as it gets, but it also produces really amazing results, right? Because just think about this. Oftentimes when I'm sending just straight emails to folks and I want them to look at it, I'll say, hi, Jim, hi, Sue, hi, Bill, or whoever I'm sending it to. And I won't include much more than that because, I want them to open it up. And so I leave a lot of curiosity. It's sent right to them. It's got their name in it. It doesn't really give a lot of detail. So they're going to be curious about opening that up at the least. So that's one of the simple, basic, easy subject lines that produces really great results. Now, let's dive into the message content. Once again, when you're sending the message, you still want to personalize the message content. So in addition to personalizing the actual subject line, you probably want to personalize the message as well. So, maybe start off with the same thing. Hi, Jim. Hi, Sue. Hi, Bill. Whoever you're actually sending the message to. And then you want to dive into it. Now, let's talk message theory here. The most important thing when you're doing this is you want to build relationships with that person on the other side, right? So you don't want to start off pitching them right away. LinkedIn is a platform of professionals. It's really important that you build relationships, that you focus on that first, because that's what they want to hear, and that's what's going to entice them to want to meet with them. It's something important that we call "What's in it for me," right? WIIFM. What's in it for me? That's the only. At the end of the day, that's the only thing people are really interested in is themselves. So the more you can kind of actually, pay attention to who they are and what they like to do, the more you can kind of personalize the message to them, the better off you're going to be, right? So first thing is personalize it. Second thing is, open up with a relationship building statement. I saw you here on LinkedIn. We're in the same group, right? You can mention the group name and what that is, just so there's some context there about how you got a hold of them. And then you dive into the next piece, right? And the next piece is kind of just a subtle kind of indication of what you do, right? You might say, this is what I do. This is a little bit about what I am, or what how I help people, right? So you just do that. Don't make it too long though, right? Maybe a sentence, maybe 2 sentences at the max, right? You're not just trying to go wholly into the pitch. You're just still building the relationship, but you're letting them know a little bit about what you do, right? So next you can actually open it up and open the discussion up on, maybe give them a call to action, or ask for the connection, ask if they could spend 5 minutes on the phone with you, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. All of this is really important, because you need to have some kind of call to action in your message, right? If you just message them and you don't have a very clearly defined call to action, most people will never do what you want them to do, right? They might read your message and might go, okay, and then they might go on to the next message. So make sure you have a very clearly defined call to action that outlines what you want them to do next. I mean, do you want them to meet with you? Do you want to connect with them? Do you want them to get on the phone with you, right? So to really kind of clearly map that out, so that way they know exactly what should be taking place next. And then just kind of end it off with, a signature. It could be something as simple as your name, your first name, maybe your first and last name. It depends on you, but I mean, I like kind of the more personal feel. That at the end of the day works the best. The more personal you can make this message, where it seems like you're really speaking to them, and it's not really pitchy, it's not like a huge form letter, right? The more likely they are to respond. Okay, people are more critical these days now than ever. Their BS meter is always up, right? They're getting a message. They can tell right away if all you're interested in doing is pitching them. Okay, and it'll really turn them off. So you kind of want to be as personable as possible in the effort of really building the relationship and making sure that their guard goes down. So all of these things are very critical things when it comes to the messaging. So just to kind of recap, subject line, something as easy as hi, and then put their name in there. Then you go on to the message, and then you do the same thing. Hi Sue, hi Bill, hi Jim. And then you start off with context on how you found them. Right? Saw you in the group, I'm using LinkedIn, want to build looking to build networks, or looking to connect with great folks like yourself. And then you can go into the next one, which is kind of like maybe a little bit more about you, a sentence, maybe 2, and then kind of a call to action on what you think would be great. Let's line up a 5-minute call, 10-minute call, 15-minute call, something as simple as that. You do not want to kind of ask for a 60-minute phone call right off the bat. That would never probably happen you might get lucky, but for the most part, people that are just meeting you, they're cool prospects still, right? That you're warming up and turning into warm prospects. You want to kind of really build the relationship first. So this is one of the methods that works absolutely all the time. One of the things that I always find works really well is just in the first message, just go for the connection, right? So don't lay out the expectation where you want to pitch them right away. Build the relationship first, right? Send them a message that says, hey, would love to connect with you and wanted to reach out to you and thought we make a great connection, or I see you're interested in similar things, right? Here's how you can connect with me. Here's my email address where you can just put into LinkedIn and connect with me. right? And looking forward to connecting with you here soon. And that's a very simple message, and it's a great first touch point because it's not pitchy. It's very simple, right? You get that first encounter taken care of, and you're building the relationship. They're not kind of like repelled by that. They're kind of pulled in. They'll say, yeah, I'll do that. I'll connect with you, right? They end up connecting with you, and then you can kind of start diving into more, of the next steps, right? Like lining up an appointment, lining up a meeting. These are things that work exceptionally well. And I would say if you're just starting off, right, and you're not kind of like a copy expert, then I would definitely just start focusing on the connection first, building the relationship, and then going from there, opening it up to a consultation or a potential meetup in the following messages after that. But start basic, right? So that way you're kind of getting used to it, you're interacting with folks, you're getting some great initial results, and then once you get that connection, then you can kind of move it more into the arena of lining up that appointment, right? And that way the prospect at the other side of things isn't caught off guard. They're not like, this guy's just looking to sell me, or is it spam or anything like that, right? You want it to get to the point where they're actually excited and interested in connecting with you more, learning about you, or learning about your company and all that stuff. So as basic as you can be at the very beginning, the more results that you're going to get right off the bat, and then you can kind of really start moving it to the next segment. But Ira, anything else on the messaging side of LinkedIn?
Yeah, Corey, you brought up some really good stuff. One of the things I know that, particularly if you're brand new and you're kind of a newbie, is, a real simple, I love simplicity, is, what I love to do is find out more about you and your business. I mean, it's so basic and simple. And, how we could possibly collaborate together. Business is just like dating. There's hardly any difference whatsoever. You go on a date, and after the date you send flowers and more flowers, and you call, and and that's how it works. Or you got the guy that goes out on a date, loses the person's number, and then a year later calls up and, of course, gets dial tone. So this is all about finessing, and it's all about how people. You've got to be really cognizant of the languaging and the words you use when you're messaging out, because when people read your message, they're feeling a certain emotion. And at the end of the day, it's how are you making people feel? Are you inspiring them? Are you motivating them? Are they curious? What kind of words are you using? Are you using power words? Using words like powerful and words that are really that inspire them. Awesome and exciting. Or are you just using the word, I've got a pretty good program. I heard someone use that the other day, and I had to stop and correct them. I said, pretty good is the same as average. But no, I think these are really good basic things, because the last thing you want to do is show up with commission breath. And when you're on LinkedIn and you just come off as pitching and selling, it's equivalent to somebody that you meet at a networking event, and everyone's had this happen. Somebody will walk up to you, they won't even say hello, and they'll hand you their business card. And it's like, are you kidding me? So you don't want to be that guy or that gal, but and again, you only have one chance to make a first impression. But the other thing you want to make sure you're doing is test and measure and keep track of what you're sending out, what kind of response rate you're getting, because there's no possible way you can, if you're not tracking the messages that you're sending out. So those are critically important as well. Wouldn't you agree, Corey, with the testing aspect of it?
Yeah, and that's one thing to really consider is that, you want to kind of get into your groove. So it's going to take you probably a couple iterations of your message to really find that sweet spot and what really, really works the best. And so that's just something you got to be prepared for. And you got to kind of have the mindset of a warrior and a marketing warrior, that you're going to go in there and you're you're looking for results and stuff like that, this works. Absolutely. It might take you a little bit to dial it in, but when you do, all you got to use is that one message. So is it worth it to kind of maybe write your message a couple different ways in order to find out what works the best? Absolutely, because you can use a different message almost every day and see what's getting you the most results. And that's what you want to do. So and this is all part of marketing, right? If you're here and you're a marketer, or you're, in business anyway, the method of test and measure. And with LinkedIn, it's the same thing, because you got to really find out what works for you and your voice and your style of communication on LinkedIn. But at the end of the day, the principles that we're talking about work really well. You use them, implement them, and the system works. And once you get it dialed in, you've got a method to line up really all the appointments you could ever really need and fill your calendar to the brim and really close a lot of deals.
Guys, there's 2 points I want to make. The first thing is, I've written a book. It's on Amazon, and I've also released some training courses on reaching out to businesses using cold email, and not even LinkedIn, just straight up cold email. And now, one thing is, you guys haven't read my book and you haven't seen my course, and you're coming from a completely different realm, and yet the principles that I talk about with cold emailing is exactly what you guys just said, which is, you have to personalize, you have to build a relationship, and you can't just, go for the home run right off the bat. And, I think that's critically important, because, you don't want to turn off anybody, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's email, it doesn't matter. You don't want to turn anybody off, right when you approach them. It's like what you were just saying, Ira. So that's the first point I want to make. The second point I want to make is, the principles are so simple, and it's almost like, duh, I know all this. Well, I would venture to say that, it sounds like common sense now, but people don't do it. And, it's so simple, and people discount the power of it. So what I want to say is, people don't discount the power of the simplicity of this method of reaching out. We're not here. There's no real magic bullet. There's no magic, copy or long form letter or something like that that's going to get 100% response and that's going to sell your product, 100% of the time, or even the first time. It really is. It's a relationship building type of thing, and it really does need to be nurtured in order for it to be effective. So, I'm glad that you guys, brought up the principles that you did, because it's extremely powerful. And, even if people already quote unquote know it, it's really, now it's really just time to implement it and just get it out there. So I appreciate that. And that's pretty much all we have for this particular segment. And we're going to continue to dive into the most effective ways of using LinkedIn. So for now, any other words that you guys want to address in regards to reaching out to potential clients?
I thought it was interesting what you just stated about your book and your principles, how they're in complete alignment with what we're talking about, because there are certain principles of building relationships in business, and they're universal principles. And I thanks for sharing that, because that really kind of pulls everything around full circle for everybody, I think.
Okay, guys. So
and the one thing I want to say real quick is, just kind of in closing on this segment, is be consistent and just do it. Just get it done, because it is the formula that'll work for you, right? We've proven it. We've tested and measured. We've helped our clients line up 10,000 plus appointments using this method. And there's no reason that it wouldn't work for you. Absolutely. And, and most likely you're in a company that in an industry that we've already gotten results for. And especially when it comes to marketing companies or people, offering services to clients. I mean, that's one of our primary segments of clients, and it works all the time. And so I really entreat you to know that you're not different, right? This formula works. It works for other people in your same industry, and it's going to continue to work. You're not different, right? It's not like your business is totally different and it won't work for that, because the truth is that it will absolutely work for you when you actually do it and you are consistent with it and you keep doing it over and over again and focusing on getting that end result. Okay? Because, you could definitely go off on some other adventure searching for more shiny objects and other ways to get leads and other crazy push button, things. And at the end of the day, unless you're really consistent with something like this, you're probably not going to get the results that you're looking for. Okay, so that's the biggest thing. I want everybody to know that it works. You got to be consistent with it, but if you do it, you dedicate yourself to it, you will see the results because it's been proven time and time again.
All right. Fantastic, guys. So we're going to go ahead and end this segment. And thanks, everybody, for listening in. And we will catch you on the next one.